American singer and songwriter Melanie Martinez has had some SA accusations made against her. Now, if you're wondering what SA means, go and Google it. I'm not allowed to say because YouTube will demonetize my ass, so I can't say it. But Melanie Martinez, for anyone that is wondering who she is, she's not the most well-known pop singer, but you know, she's got a respectable following. I've heard they are a little bit like Swifties, so be careful what you say down in the comments. But Melanie Adele Martinez was born on the 28th of April, 1995. And she is an American songwriter and singer born in Astoria, Queens, and was raised in Baldwin, New York. Martinez rose to fame in 2012 after appearing on season 3 of American talent TV show The Voice. Following the show, she was signed to Atlantic Records, where she released her debut single, Dollhouse, followed by the debut extended play for the same name in 2014. Martinez later released her debut studio album called Crybaby in 2015, which went on to be a certified double platinum, which is pretty huge. And the album amassed numerous commercial success singles, including Pity Party, Soap, and Mrs. Potato Head. And she has since released 2 follow-up albums called K-12 and Portals in 2019 and 2023. Respectively. Now, she's probably best known for her two-tone hair, as it says in the blog just below, and her bangs and her this kind of like doll-like appearance. And then later, she's kind of gone down this very interesting route of well, she wears this weird mask. Let me just show you. Here we go. So this weird mask here, you might have seen this and wonder what the F is going on. Well, this is her new like style, I guess that's the way to put it. This kind of very earthy kind of girl of the Mother Nature looking thing. Yeah, that's who she is. So if you've ever seen that, you probably know who I'm talking about. But she blew mostly to fame, obviously, off of The Voice and her double platinum album. But one of her songs, this is how I came to know about her, went absolutely viral on TikTok around 2020, 2021, during the lockdown period, called Playdate. Everyone was lip syncing it, everyone was dancing to it. I'm pretty sure I saw Paul Breach do some weird stuff to it, so you know, let's like get that image out of our heads. But back in 2017, her then best friend came forward with some very damning allegations against her. And the allegations were, well, pretty horrific to say the very least. And people were hugely surprised because, of course, it was her then best friend that came up with the allegations. So Melanie Martinez responds to these allegations by former best friend Timothy Heller. So Melanie Martinez has been accused of this by her former best friend and musician Timothy Heller, who detailed her memory of the harrowing incident on Twitter last night on December 4th. This was back in 2017, by the way. Martinez has since shared the statement in response to the allegations, and Martinez went on to state, "I am horrified and saddened by the statements and the story told tonight by Timothy Heller," she began. "What she and I shared was a close relationship for a period of time. We came into each other's lives as we were both starting to our careers as artists, and we tried to help each other. We both had pain in dealing with our individual demons and new paths we were forging, but I truly felt that we were trying to lift each other up." Martinez finished her statement with, "She never said no to what we chose to do together. Although we parted ways, I am sending her love and light always." So, of course, in that statement, there is acknowledgement that something went on, but Martinez is stating that it was consensual, completely consensual, though Timothy Heller has turned around and stated that, in fact, it was not consensual, and, you know, she has accused her of this. So very damning allegations. Of course, to a pop star so early in her career, this is not the kind of publicity that you want to get. But I would be very careful down in the comment section below before you go type in that she's guilty, because I've heard that Melanie Martinez fans are on par with Swifties. They're just batshit crazy and they will do absolutely anything to back their girl to the hilt. So be careful, you've been warned. Just be careful. So yeah, those were the allegations that came out in 2017. And this video that I'm about to show you was the video of, a video, sorry, of what was being accused of, she was being accused of. So let me just get this on full screen quick time. Here we go. Right, so this is the video from Timothy Heller herself talking about this alleged allegations.
Speaking out against my abuser ruined my life, and I'd like to talk to you about it. I'm going to be reading something I wrote. It's not particularly well written, but I just needed to collect my thoughts.
Oh, by the way, context. This came out like literally a couple of days ago at the time of recording. So 7 years later, she has resurfaced these allegations. When everything kind of died down, she's resurfaced the allegations.
Whether you know who I am or not, I ask you to please listen to my story. If you do recognize me, then you haven't heard from me in a couple of years. And that's because I was effectively run off the internet. You also may have heard that I admitted to lying or that it was proven that I lied. Neither are true. Speaking out against my abuser ruined my life. Here's how we got to that point. During the Me Too movement, I chose to speak out against a former friend who had essayed me. I was young, naive, and could never imagine how this would end up affecting my life. I believed that as long as I told the truth, things would turn out all right. I was very wrong. After my initial statement, describing in detail what happened, my abuser issued a statement in response. She used the sentence, "She never said no to what we chose to do together." While I did say no, in many different ways.
Now, what's important here is she never uses Melanie Martinez's name. Like, she never uses her name. Basically, I'm assuming that's to avoid any defamation cases or legal practices or anything like that. Because I'm sure Melanie Martinez has got a very good legal practice. But, obviously, using a direct quote from her response does also confirm it, and also rehashing something that she's already accused Melanie Martinez of obviously also confirms that who she's talking about, basically.
The sentence was actually quite validating for me to hear. She clearly didn't understand how consent works, and she admitted that something took place between us.
Yeah.
I wish it ended there. I made the mistake of doing an interview with Daily Mail. While being interviewed, they asked for more specific details, like when the incident took place. It'd been around 2 years prior, so I didn't remember the exact date. What I did remember was a picture I took the next day. I went back in my camera roll, found the picture, and told them the day of the incident was the day before. Unfortunately, I was wrong. The picture in my camera roll appeared multiple times. I can't explain why. When the interview came out, her fans went back in her posts to that date to find that we were in different states.
Now, I do find that a bit sus initially. You know, photos don't typically duplicate unless you take screenshots of a photo. And, you know, to have no sudden understanding of why it was there. Now, I'm literally impartial here. Like, I don't know what's gone on. I don't know, you know, the allegations regarding these two. And it's clearly very personal beef. But I'll chime in with my 50 pence in a moment.
If you've never heard my story before, you might at this point wonder, why would that matter? She admitted something between you took place in her statement. I agree, and this is just one of the parts that drives me crazy. After this discovery, she released a second statement, in which she thanks her fans for researching the timeline and analyzing past Instagram posts which reveal my false statements. Unfortunately, this was enough for 99% of her fans to take what she said as truth and deem me a liar. The complete contradiction of her statements meant nothing. The events after this are so much and so overwhelming it's hard for me to recount. She ended up releasing essentially a diss track about me, with lyrics perpetuating the idea that I lied about all of this for fame. I was a small musician at the time, and after speaking out, gained tens of thousands of followers. While there were some supporters, the majority of the followers were people who actively hated me. I suddenly had thousands of hate accounts dedicated to me, thousands of dislikes and negative comments on all of my music, and completely ridiculous fabricated stories of me being posted online. I really hoped it would die out and people who liked me would stick around and I'd be able to move on with my career, but it never died. Anything I attempted to do was infected with this story. Googling me results in many first-page results calling me a liar. The people who hated me took it upon themselves to ruin every opportunity for me. Partnerships with brands, modeling opportunities, they were all flooded with comments saying I lied about SA. In addition to this, my home address, phone number, and family's phone numbers were all leaked. I became so discouraged with my own music career I essentially stopped. I started doing SW in an attempt to regain some autonomy, but that was taken from me as well when people who hated me hacked the account. I was just trying to move on. My adult content was being spread and mocked by the people who hated me. Every single one of my social media accounts was hacked, including my email. The only thing they didn't get into was my bank account. I was given the classic fuck the haters advice, but until you're bombarded with the amount that I had to endure, you really can't imagine how it would affect you. It was just so much louder than any amount of support I was receiving. As you can imagine, my mental health was and is majorly affected by this situation. And while I wish I was the type of person with the confidence to say, fuck the haters and stick it out, I'm just not. I'm sensitive and not self-confident and never have been. And this made it so much worse. It got to the point where I could no longer put up with the abuse. Holding on to this public image was no longer worth the pain, and I deactivated all of my public accounts. In doing this, I also saw this as completely giving up on being a musician. I couldn't put myself through the public scrutiny anymore. So that's where I've been the past couple of years, in private. It was a huge relief to no longer be bombarded with the amount of hate I was receiving every day, but now I'm stuck with the after effects. I imagine every day the life that I could have lived if this all hadn't happened. Would I be the musician I always wanted to be? It's kept me in a complete freeze state. I won't go into too much detail about how much I've been suffering the past couple of years. Frankly, it's embarrassing. I wish I could move on. But I've never wanted things to be over more than I have now. I've been in partial hospitalization programs and attempted to regain any semblance of confidence and hope for my life, but I can't shake that this is the wrong timeline for me. I didn't do anything wrong. I spoke the truth. If you're familiar with my story, you may have also heard that I admitted to lying, and I can assure you that never happened. There were photoshopped images spread around of a confession that never happened because I have nothing to confess. I never lied. You may have also heard that I accused other celebrities of this, which I can promise you never happened either. There's so many other terrible things that people have made up about me that I'm not going to dissect and defend right now. But I was successfully gaslit into thinking I was a bad person who deserved this. I am so scared to speak out about this again. There's a high possibility that I won't receive any support from this, and people who hate me will target me again, and I go back into hiding. I ask that if you are someone who is under the impression that I lied about this, to please hear me out. Please think about her contradicting statements. Please realize that there's no one on earth who knows what happened that night besides me and her, and even the smallest possibility that I could be telling the truth should be enough for you to not want to risk ruining an innocent person's life in this way. I'm completely exhausted from begging people to believe me for years now. I'm not sure what I'm hoping will come from this. It's gotten to be quite humiliating to beg people to care. But if you haven't heard my story before, thank you for hearing me, and I could really use your help in rewriting the false narrative of who I am and what happened to me.
So there is the full kind of video from Timothy, but again, well, I'll share my opinions momentarily. But obviously there she did allege that there was a diss track made against her from Melanie Martinez. So the diss track was allegedly a song called Piggyback. Now, Piggyback is a song recorded by American songwriter Melanie Martinez, and it was independently released by streaming on her SoundCloud account on December 22nd, 2017. So bear in mind, this came very shortly after the accusations came forward, and it was also, bear in mind, independently released for streaming on her SoundCloud. So it wasn't released by her label, it wasn't released on an album, it was just a single that she popped out just a very random date, not linked to any albums whatsoever. This followed the controversy between Martinez and Timothy Heller. The latter, a person whom singer once was shared a friendship, accused her of SA, and this various music critics associated with Piggyback with the incident. Now, obviously, the whole diss track, you know, you could look at it and say, oh, maybe it was a diss track, maybe it wasn't. But then when you put it with the context of what I'm about to tell you, it paints a bit of a different picture, because the song was released as a standalone single, and it was released on SoundCloud, and the song can be viewed on Spotify. However, it is unplayable. So shortly after the song it was recorded in December of 2017, it was released on December 22nd, and then it was actually removed. It's been taken down, and it is available on Spotify like it says here, but you cannot actually play the song. I'm sure there's probably like dummy versions of the song like that have been pirated, uploaded to YouTube or something, but many people have stated that this is, you know, this was a retaliation to Timothy Heller's claims, but then for her to remove it, it looked a little bit strange, to say the very least. Now, this was Timothy Heller's response at the time to the allegations and the stuff like this. So she said, "I am horrified and saddened by the statements and story told tonight by Timothy Heller." Sorry, this was Melanie Martinez's response. "What she and I shared was a close friendship for a period of time. We came into each other's lives as we were both starting our careers as artists, and we tried to help each other. We both had pain in dealing with individuals and da-da-da-da-da. I understand how hard it can be for my side of the story, considering no one with a heart would want to invalidate anyone speaking about this topic. I want to thank my friends who took the time to research the timeline, analyse the past Instagram posts, and question the story being told, which reveal her false statements. I trust so many people in my life who took advantage of that trust and for own personal gain. Please know that my intentions with everything that I do in my life are always pure, and I would never intimate with someone without their absolute consent." So of course that was the statement back in 2017. The video that we've just watched was a resurfacing of the allegations, but to respond to the 2024 allegations, Melanie Martinez posted this to her Instagram. It looks like an Instagram post. She stated, "Oh wow, it took us 7 years to bring this drama back, coincidentally at the peak of Mel's career. And yet, she is reading off of a script," which is something that I have seen a lot of people talk about, you know, about it being read off of a script and stuff. It does look a little bit like premeditated, obviously, very planned. But here are some other responses from the public. "Which actual art victim takes their allegations to the internet? None. It's so obvious that this girl wants publicity. If you said about Melanie really happened and you want justice so bad, then why don't you take your situation to court?" Now, of course, we can tell that this is a pro-Melanie Martinez person because hashtag Melanie Martinez is innocent is in the thing. But at the same time, you know, it's not uncommon for people of abuse to come forward online, because sometimes that's the only way that you can get people to listen. Let's look at the Diddy situation, for example. His partner was very vocal online, and then the videos circulated of him abusing her in a hotel, and that was how people listened. So I disagree with that comment there, and I think that actually sometimes the only way to get people to listen is to kick and shout and make as much fuss as possible, especially if someone is as high profile and has such a fan base, as someone like Melanie Martinez. Now, my take on it is I'm not sure, because of course, if this is true, it's absolutely horrific for Timothy Heller, right? It's absolutely horrific to have that happen to you and then be silenced by someone's fan base, and you know, have this smear campaign made against you. Utterly horrific. But on the flip side, obviously there are a lot of questions about the motive. Melanie Martinez obviously drops her first double platinum album back in 2015. It takes a couple of years for it to go double platinum, but then as soon as it does, these allegations come to light, almost as if, you know, controversy. It's no secret that controversy builds careers, right? Like, it gets you notoriety. And it works to a degree if it pays off. So, you know, Melanie Martinez is kind of at the peak of her game. You know, she's just come out, she's hit a double platinum album, and then these allegations come to light, and then suddenly it all dies down for 7 years. And then 7 years later, she's doing a very, very popular tour. I believe is it a trilogy tour? Because she's got 3 albums out, so she's doing like the best of all 3 albums across the globe. So it's very interesting that now, at the peak of her, you know, tour era, I suppose, she's trying to again bring these allegations back up again. Maybe she's someone who just wants their truth told. Maybe it is the truth. But then again, maybe it's someone who's trying to profit off of the back of someone else's success. What do you guys think, though? Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. While you're down there, be sure to jump scare the hell out of that like button if you have not already. Subscribe if you're new. Tick about little bell so you get notified whenever we upload to the channel. And until next time, guys, I hope that you have found this video informative. Cannot wait to see you in the next one, and I'll speak to you later. Peace.